Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Commander's Core Studio. Welcome to the show. So, Commander is a game about many things, and one of those things is about understanding who the threat is. And this actually might even occur before the game starts. So on today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the commanders that you need to know about, the ones that you need to kill on sight. Let's jump into it. And already this year, we've seen a lot of really spicy and really powerful commanders, starting off with the Unrepentant. Yeah, this commander does not repent. This commander is not sorry, and this commander will destroy you if you do not stop it. A 5/5 Scorpion Dragon Rogue, because that's a thing, with Flammable that costs 4 mana and Rakdos. Sacrifice 3 other creatures. You may put a creature card from your hand on the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery and only once each turn. Okay, so basically, cheat something into play, and it stays there permanently. You know, typically in red, we've got like these sneak attack type cards. They're like, okay, it comes into play, or like through the breach. Like, okay, it's into play. Okay, now it's back to my hand. And yeah, sure, you can use ways, you know, to like work with that and like, yeah, I mean, just take a player out or like, you know, use something else to try to keep it around in a kind of cheaty way. No, this is all just the cheaty all in one. Sure, there's a cost to it, but again, sacrifice 3 other creatures. Come on, that's easy. Especially because it doesn't say non-token creatures. So, yeah, this is the kind of commander that once this comes down, if you are not ready for it, you are in trouble. Because if that other player has things on the board they can sacrifice, they have the potential to basically just end the game right then and there with the right scenario. I mean, even just a card like Weaponcraft Enthusiast on the turn before can just be game ending. A 0/1 Aetherborn Artificer for 3 mana with Fabricate 2. So you can either get 2 counters on this to make it a 2/3 for 3 mana. No, don't do that. Get 2 tokens in there instead. Get 2 servos, so you have 3 creatures for 3 mana. That's very efficient. Next turn, get your commander out, sacrifice those creatures, and all of a sudden cheat into play whatever you want. Again, super early. Speaking of setting things up, though, let's just ensure that we can, well, make the most of that big turn. Footfall Crater, a very simple card. Enchantment Aura for a single red mana. Enchant a land. The enchanted land has tap target gains trample and haste up turn, or you can cycle it if you don't need it. But yeah, with this kind of a deck, you're going to want to get that on a land. Yeah, just like turn 1, okay, cool. Play my mountain, get that on there. Great, cool. Yeah, do that. And then by the time you actually need to utilize it to give that creature haste that's coming down. And obviously, like, you know, like Lightning Greaves works even better next turn because it's free to equip. But you know what I mean. There's a lot of effective ways to give haste in red. I mean, also, we could just talk about, I guess, Fervor and all those ways, too. So there you go. But yeah, you can, once you get your commander out then, you know, turn 4, just cheat out like a Pathrazer Ulamog, a 9/9 Eldrazi that costs 11 with Annihilator 3. Can't be blocked except by 3 more creatures. This is $8. This is within my budget, you know, again. Of course, there's other, you know, outside of my budget threats that you could cheat out, too. But even with this one, this is just game over for one player. This is all of a sudden, okay, I just cheated out, again, as early as turn, you know, 3, 4, whatever it is, a 9/9 that will attack. Again, if I give it haste a certain way, you know, one way or another, it's not going to be blocked most likely by that player. So it's going to be hitting them for a lot, but even more effectively than that, again, Annihilator 3. When this attacks, the defending player sacrifices 3 permanents. That is game ending. Early in the game, that is game ending. They might only have 3 lands in play, and that's it, and you just got rid of their lands. They are done. This is a game-ending commander that, again, if you're not ready for it, if you don't have the removal up for it to say, oh, you got your Scorpion Dragon God thing out, yeah, let's not let that happen. You're in trouble. I mean, like, again, Blightsteel Colossus. Even if you have removal up, it might be too late. An 11/11 Golem with Trample and Infect. It's indestructible, cost 12. Put in a graveyard from anywhere, reveal it, shuffle to library instead. The important part here is this is a one-shot KO on any player because, again, it hits for 11, and it has Infect, and you only need 10 poison counters. I gotta say Infect. 10 poison counters to take someone out. So yeah, if at a higher budget of $35, or if you proxy it, then you, yes, can just decide to, oh yeah, very early, just, oh, I got my Weaponcraft Enthusiast out. I'll just sacrifice these creatures, and boom! You're all in trouble. Goodbye. And of course, you are in black. So yeah, if you got the budget for it as well, very low to the ground effective tutors like Demonic Tutor, search life for a card, put in your hand, then shuffle. Some would say this is in the Power 9 of Commander. I would probably say that. Others might not. But yeah, this is a 2 mana. I am any other card in your deck. Very good. Even at a budget, though, there's also other great tutors, too. That being said, again, all you need to do is, oh, okay, I get things set up. You know, I get my haste enabler set up. I get my creatures set up out there that can sacrifice that creature fodder. I get my commander out, and, yeah, I tutor out whatever creature I want out of my deck, get it in my hand, sacrifice those creatures, get into play, and I win. So, yes, this is the kind of commander that can be very quick, very easy to take players out. An absolutely disgusting commander. A really cool name, a really cool art design, and a really scary everything about it. So, yeah, do not underestimate this one. It is a massive threat the second you sit down at the table and say, oh, that player's playing it cool, okay. Yep, threat number 1, unless it's one of these other commanders coming up. Moving on. Yeah, these are not in any particular order, but Anzrag the Quake Mole. It's a thing. 8/4 Mole God for 4 mana and Gruul. Whenever it becomes blocked, untap each creature you control. After this combat phase, there's initial combat phase. And just a little extra thing right here, too, on top of that, because that wasn't enough. Hey, pay 3 red, red, green, green. Must be blocked each combat this turn of Fable. Okay, so, yeah, they made something that has like an infinite kind of clause on it, essentially, and then they gave you the other part of that infinite clause. Now, technically, right? I mean, this either would get dealt with, or your opponent's creature would get dealt with, most likely, unless you're playing against a player that has like a wall that has 0 power that is indestructible. Then they just did it for you, essentially. This is all just infinite for you. Basically, get infinite comments, infinite swings with this. That being said, that scenario might not come around that often. It very well might. I mean, an easier scenario might just be like, oh, you play like a simple, like, you know, withstand death. I think that's, you know, the one, like, give this creature indestructible, okay? If your opponent has, like, an indestructible creature as well, that's infinite. Doesn't win you the game necessarily, but it's very easy for you to do so. I guess if this had trample, this would probably win you the game. This is such an easy combo commander. It is not even funny. It is so simple, so easy that, again, you only need like one other card really to combo with this because it's just so simple and it's just printed on the card. And you might say like, oh, well, it costs 7 mana to do that. You're in green. You're in green. You got ways to do that. You got ways to pay that mana for this pretty easily, pretty effectively. You can end the game super early with this type of a commander. And even if you're not ending the game, this can just be a board wipe on a body. Again, withstand death. You know, you make this indestructible. You make it so it has to be blocked each combat of this turn of Able. You just swing at each opponent and all their untapped creatures have to block and you take all of them out. And then you get to swing one more time too. So yes, this is a commander that is a massive threat. Alarm bells should be going off again the second you sit down at the table and the player across from you is like, I'm playing the Mole God. And you're like, oh, gosh, okay. Threat identified. Coming after you. Everyone else around the page. Oh, wait, no, you've got a cool. Oh, okay. Other threat identified. Oh, gosh, you've got Urza. Okay. Yeah, this can be a problem. Anyways, Spearmaker Behemoth. This is a card that can be, hey, your combo enabler all in one with this commander. A 5/5 indestructible beast for 7 mana. Pay 1 single mana. Target creature with power 4, 5 or greater gains indestructible on turn. So again, your commander becomes indestructible. And then you're like, oh, that opponent over there is so generous that they have a 5 power creature in play that is untapped. Let's give that indestructible. You're welcome. And now I'm going to swing infinitely back and forth at this. While also this can just swing infinitely too now at this point. And then it's going to be swinging, taking out your other opponent's creatures, and then just going through in combat, taking out your opponents as well. So there you go. You win. Terrifying Presence. You can make it even simpler than that, though. Instant for 1 in a green. Prevent all combat to be dealt by creatures this turn other than target creature this turn. Yeah, so this is going to be something where you say, okay, I've got this one other creature in play. It's got some evasion or whatever. I've got another way to get through. Basically, it's unblockable. And I'm just going to make it so that it's dealing damage. My commander is not dealing damage, and neither is anything else. And I just keep swinging infinitely again, and that creature keeps getting through. Even if it's just 1 damage. If it's just 1 damage going through every single time, it does not matter. You win. So yeah, fogs like this can be crazy good. Even just a simple fog can be very, very, very good. You need some extra things to help you out with that, but that being said, there's plenty of extra things, like Zertodrude. Hey, 1/1 Human Druid for 2 mana. Tap for a green. Whenever you tap it for mana, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Again, let's just read really quick again with our Mole God. It says, untap each creature you control. It doesn't say untap each creature that attacked. No. They made this super simple, super easy for you. So, Again, if you have a mana dork, congratulations, you have infinite mana now because you're swinging with your commander infinitely. Also, that doesn't really matter with this one because, sure, you don't need infinite mana because you're just pinging all your opponents until they are gone with this, because this is just a mana dork that punishes your opponents. So again, you tap this 40 times or whatever you need to tap it, and your opponents are just gone. You don't even have to get through with your commander. Also, like Savage Vent Maw, again, talking about like infinite mana and whatnot. I mean, technically, you're probably going to take your opponents out before that happens with something like this, but still, hey, whenever this attacks, add red, 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 green, green, green to your mana pool until your mana to the turn. It doesn't have to, they have a lot of text for that. It should be like, doesn't disappear. There you go. There needs to be like kind of like a mechanic for that. There's a lot of keywords though, right? That's probably too much. That being said, okay, hey, let's get a lot of mana with this so we can very easily activate our commander, which is great. But also, again, just store up all that mana for other lovely things. Also, when it comes to mana, how about we just make our lands into the actual source? Come all's will. Choose one if you control your commander's cast spell. You get both. We're going to get both. Till after turn, any target land you control become one elemental creatures that are still with vigilance, indestructible, and haste. They are still lands. Choose target creature you don't control. Each creature you control deals combination equal to the power to that creature. Sure, that second part's nice, but the first part is what you really care about. All your lands are creatures. Great. They're also indestructible. Great. So that means that you can just keep swinging as many times as you want, again, when you've got this combo going to your commander, which is great, but also you can just tap them for mana if you want to, and again, because they're creatures, they're going to untap thanks to your commander as well. So yeah, this is, I win, because I'm coming through with these lands. There's no way you're blocking all of them with, like, indestructible creatures of your own. I will eventually take you all out, but also just get infinite mana if I want that. Come up with some crows that can be really fun, too, for the player doing this. Maybe not fun for the opponents. Pay a green, target land becomes a 1/1 creature for 12 turns, so a land. And the 5 mana overrun effect plus 3/3 and trample to your creatures. This helps in multiple ways. Number 1, hey, I'm swinging at you. Oh, you don't have any blockers. I'd like to give you a blocker. So I'm going to turn one of your lands into a creature. Oh, wait. I'm going to turn one of my lands into a creature first, though, so I can actually just, again, infinitely untap that, essentially, once I get this combo going. And then just actually destroy all your lands. Just basically destroy your lands. All your lands become creatures. They have to block and destroy your lands. And if you're not blocking with them, they're going to be tapping anyway, so they're out of combat anyways. Regardless, I can just get my creatures trample, which gives my commander trample, and plus 3/3, it's going to be able to get through then, so that's another way to just win. You just keep swinging with your indestructible commander against something else that is indestructible or whatnot that you're saving, fog or whatever you're doing to it, and all of a sudden you're getting damage through over time. So yeah, this is the kind of commander that, again, is one that you need to be on the lookout for. You definitely do. You should be afraid of. And you should say when you're sitting down at the table, yeah, this is a combo on a stick already. Where's the rest of it? Where's the rest of the combo? How is it going to get here? Oh, it's just like a 1 mana fog that just beat me. Okay, great. Yeah, yeah, definitely a kill inside commander. Moving on, the Gitrog is back, and oh my goodness. I mean, yeah, the original Gitrog, definitely a kill inside commander. Against the right deck, with the right deck build for it, very deadly. But this one, yeah, 2. You just need one good turn and the game's basically over, essentially. A 6/5 frog with trample and haste that costs 5 mana and Golgari. Whenever it deals combat to a player, you may sacrifice creature at saddle this turn. If you do, draw X cards and put up to X land cards to your hand on the battlefield tapped. Rex the sacrifice creature's power. Saddle 1. Now, I'm not sure, they probably could have worded this in a different way, but like, there is no risk with this commander, essentially. When it comes to like these kind of like big splashy effects, like sacrifice a creature and get something like, like you cast like one of those spells, it's like sacrifice a creature, then you get this effect. If that gets countered, you lose out on the creature. This doesn't like force you like pre-sacrifice the creature and then hopefully you get through. Now this is like, oh, you got through with your trample hasty 6/5 for 5 mana. Wow, I'm so surprised. Okay, did you have a big creature that was saddling it? Which, again, just funny. Like, okay, this giant creature's just riding this little frog. I mean, it's a big frog, but, like, come on. You put, like, a giant on top, but it's a little frog. Okay, cool. You sacrifice the... okay, you win. Okay, you technically don't just win. But, yeah, it's quite easy to, and I'll show you some examples here in a little bit, get, like, a 20-power creature out there and be like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess I'll draw 20 cards. Oh, that wasn't enough. No, I need a little more. Okay, so I drew 20 cards. Now I also, here's the thing, I also get to just drop 15 lands from my hand into play. However many lands it is that you just drew into, plus lands already in your hand, drop them all into play. Sure, 10, whatever it is. You have a commander that can essentially, very easily, with a variety of cards out there, ramp you by 10 on probably turn 4. Probably. And also, you just restocked your hand entirely, and then some, to set yourself up for the next time you do this, to then get basically all the lands from your deck into play, most likely. But still, this is the type of commander that, again, you just need to hit with once, and you probably win the game. Because, again, we're playing Commander, which is a format which, if you like it or don't like it, it just is what it is. The vast majority of playgroups out there do not like to play with mass land destruction. Therefore, if you are at a certain point where you have 10 lands above everyone else, unless they can catch up, which they probably can't, because you're just going to keep going anyways with this again and again and again to get even further ahead with lands, yeah, they're not catching up. They're not stopping you. The amount of value you have on your turn is going to be much greater than they have on their turn because the amount of lands that you have is absolutely absurd. Plus, you can utilize landfall triggers. It's gross. It's absolutely gross. I mean, speaking of gross, just the concept of Wall of Blood. Gross. Who built that? Disgusting. Pay 1 life. It gets ++1 until end of turn. It has 0 power. Who cares? What you're going to do is you're going to get this in play. And then you're going to get your Get Rog out. And then you're going to be like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, saddle it. Okay, awesome. Yeah, all right. Yep. Okay, sacrifice a creature. Great. Okay. Yeah, I paid 20 life for this? Yeah, you know what? No, I'll pay 25. Let's play 25, actually. You know what? I want more cards, more lands. Okay, cool. I just drew 25 cards very early on in the game. A fourth of my deck. Sure, it cost me life, but who cares? Life is a resource to utilize in Commander, all right? And 1 life per 1 card plus additional ramp as well, again, like extra 10 or plus, lands in play is pretty absurd. See, if you do this, you probably just win. You also can just do it without, losing all that life with something like Dagmoth Titan. An 11/10 demon that costs 4 mana. Whenever it attacks or blocks, sacrifice a creature. Okay, well, we don't need to do that because it's just going to sit there as an 11 power creature for 4 mana. We're just going to have it sit there and be like, okay, I'm ready. Oh my gosh, a little frog, let's ride it. Sacrifice. I'll draw 11 cards, thank you. Yes. Oh, get some lands into play. I'd love to do that as well. Of course. Oh, and you know what? Actually, that actually had 22 power because I had something like Choose Your Weapon, and which I just cast, 2-weapon fighting. Double target creature's power touch until end turn. Of course, there's more expensive ways to do this as well, like Unnatural Growth, I think, is the enchantment, but still, hey, double up a creature's power. Yeah, this is basically a 3 mana. Let's draw an additional 11 cards. And get even more lands into play. Yeah, gross. Gross is the only word to really say with all this. Wedding Invitation, very simple, very effective cards like this. Again, your commander does have trample and haste. It can swing right away, right? You could also, I guess, double your commander's power to make sure it gets through. Again, that as well. Or you can just utilize something simple like this. Pay 2 mana. Yeah, cool, get into play. You draw a card. You replace itself. Great. Tab, sacrifice our creature. We block this turn. Cool. Yeah, your commander's unblockable. That's all you need to do to get through. Again, that's all you need to do. You just get your commander through, and that's nearly the end of the game for your opponent, especially if you have like a Rampaging Bayless in play. First of all, sure, you could actually saddle, this onto, your commander if you really want to do that. Like, okay, 6, that's still good, right? You're not going to, like, squawk at 6, like, okay, pay 6, draw 6, additional lands into play. That's really, really good. That being said, having this in play with your commander is quite nice. A 6/6 trampling beast for 6 mana. Whenever a land is battlefield under control, you may create a 4/4 green beast creature token. So again, when you just like get, your Dagmoth Titan, onto your commander saddled, and then you swing, and then you hit, and then you sacrifice, you're like, okay, cool, drop all these lands into play, and you're like, okay, cool, I just dropped 6 lands into play, okay, cool, I'll get 24 power across 24 power across 6 bodies, 4/4s. Yeah, you're gonna probably win the game right then and there. Or you can just do it like right away with Psychosis Crawler. Star, Phyrexian for 5 mana. Power toughness, each of the number of cards in your hand. Whenever you draw a card, you lose 1 life. This is quite a gross card. First of all, if you've got other ways to draw cards, or if you just have like a Reliquary Tower, hey, you just keep most of those cards in your hand. Cool, this gets bigger and bigger and bigger. You can actually sacrifice this, saddling it, and draw a lot. Or if you just keep it in play, you're going to drain your opponents in absolutely no time. Again, every single bit of power that creature had that you saddled and sacrificed, it is going to be now utilized to just drain your opponents. So again, you just drew 20 cards. You just put 10 lands into play, and you drain your opponents 20. They have no chance. So yeah, this is the kind of commander that, again, if it just hits once, the game can just be absolutely over. So do not underestimate this frog. So yeah, it is a gross new card. Definitely a kill inside commander. Next up, we've got Judith Connoisseur. A 3/4 human shaman for 5 mana in Rakdos. Whenever you cast instant or short spell, choose 1. Here we go. It's probably going to be the first one most of the time. That spell gains Death Touch. If it stopped there, if that was literally all this commander did, it would still see a ton of play and still make this list. And Lifelink. Okay, that's a lot. Oh, also, if you didn't want that, you could also choose like to make a 2/2 red imp creature token with this creature dies, you'll shoot each opponent. Oh, just that. Just that as well. So this is a commander that you say, oh, you know what? I've got plenty of spells out there that can just be very terrible in commander, very awful in commander. Just like, just a little bit of damage to each of the opponent's creatures. I can't really take many of the things out unless they're playing a very specific deck. Like if they're playing like 1/1 tokens, sure, but if they get a single Anthem in play, it's not going to do anything. No. Every single one of your tiny little damage spells becomes a one-sided board wipe for you. I mean, not quite like Ruinous Ultimatum, because that's like all their other things too, but it's just like, oh, yeah, one-sided Wrath of God. Again, and again, and again, and again. Oh, and you paid how much for that? Oh, what? 1 mana, like a Blasphemous Act, but like one-sided? Yeah, gross. So this is the type of commander, again, that players, might not hold back on the number of board wipes that they have in their deck, because like they're technically not board wipes without the commander, but they really are board wipes with the commander. So they might have like, 15 plus ways to just say, oh, I paid 1 mana, take out your team. Oh, I paid 2 mana, that was expensive for me this time, take out your team. Oh, my creatures, they're fine, don't worry about them. Oh, you know what, I've already taken your creatures too many times, let's just start making some imps. Oh wait, I forgot. Everyone, okay, how many creatures did we just take out? Yeah, I dealt 1 damage each of them. Okay, I just gained 40 life. Cool, all right, thank you. So yeah, you got ways to gain absurd amounts of life to pad your life total. You also have ways to repeatedly wipe the board again, and you can also make an army. If you really want to make an army, go for it. So yes, Blazing Volley, as a simple example, sorcery for a single red mana. Sees like no play in commander before this commander. Now it's like, oh, okay, yeah, this commander, perfect for it. 1 damage each creature opponent's control. Again, a useless card in the vast majority of decks out there, because it's like, okay, unless I'm playing against a bunch of 1/1s, this does nothing. But with this commander, it's like, oh, it does everything. This is, hey, pay 1 mana, destroy probably 20 creatures, and gain 20 life for 1 mana. And again, you're going to have multiple of those. Tectonic Hazard, again, a single red mana, 1 damage each opponent, and each creature they control. So again, insult to injury, just like, I hit you in the face too. Oh, and I gain life for that as well. Yeah, this is a deadly commander that you need to look out for, because again, players probably aren't going to hold back with the number of effects they have that can ping, because also there's a bunch of like ones like Smash to Dust, which are very flexible as well. Like choose 1, destroy target artifact, destroy target creature defender. This card would see no play with those two, but hey, 1 damage each creature opponent's control. Yeah, okay. So again, be like, okay, it's in the deck in case I need removal for an artifact, but also if you get creatures in play, they're going to be gone. Yeah, so this is the type of commander where, again, even some useless cards that see absolutely no play are all of a sudden all-stars with this kind of a deck. Mahadi Emporium, master a 3/3 Cat Devil. At the beginning of your end step, create a treasure token for each creature that died this turn. Yup. You just paid 1 mana to wipe out, again, let's say your opponent's 20 creatures or whatever. You gain 20 life. And you know what? Let's just get, 20 treasures too. So you just, ritualed for 19 essentially. Gross. Yeah, there's a lot of easy ways to set things up. I mean, yeah, you can take your opponents out. You can put them out of their misery, something like Fire Inscription. Hey, whenever enters the battle for the ring tempts you, cool, don't really care. Whenever you cast it, sorcery spell, deals 2 damage each opponent. Yeah, I care about that. So again, I've got these imps I can make that can deal damage when they get taken out. I can also just, when I'm casting spells, take out your creatures, take you out with that. I can things like, like Blood Artist type effects and play to drain you as well. There's plenty of ways to take your opponents out, or like Sanguine Bond type effects. Be like, oh, I gain life, cool, all right, drain you. Yeah. Also, when you gain life, well, Lost Dreams. Whenever you gain life, you may pay X, where X is less than or equal to the amount of life you gain. If you do draw X cards, you're probably never going to be able to pay that upper threshold on X. I mean, at least when the board's set up and you're like, okay, cool, I just wiped out again 20 creatures. Oh, I've only got 8 extra mana. Darn. I guess I'll draw 8 cards after I gain 20 life and take out 20 creatures. Yeah, this is the type of commander, again, that players probably aren't going to hold back when it comes to the number of wraths that are not wraths, because it's like they're technically not a wrath in other decks, like Blazing Volley, not a wrath in other decks. You wouldn't be like, okay, cool, I'm set on my wraths. I've got Blazing Volley, Tectonic Hazard, and Smash to Dust. I'm ready for any situation. No, opponents have creatures that are bigger than 1 toughness. But with this commander, it does not matter. Again, it does not matter. 1 damage equals infinite damage, essentially, when it comes to their creatures with that Death Touch. And the lifelink's just lovely on top of that. So yeah, this is a commander that is a massive threat, because you will never keep anything in play at all until you deal with it. Next up, another new kill on-site commander, one of the pre-con face commanders, I believe. Stell Elite, wildcard a 2/4 human rogue for 3 mana in Is It. Whenever you cast your second spell, each turn exile the top card of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play that card. This commander didn't need that text on it, actually, for this to just be already on this list. It did not need that text at all. And when that happens, and that's already a good effect, right? Hey, like you impulse draw when you're casting 2 spells. That's already a good effect. That's a very good effect. You didn't need that, though, to be a scary commander, because tap, copy target, insert spell you control. You may choose targets for the copy. Activate only if you've cast 3 more spells this turn. Oh, look, it's got a requirement on it. Darn, that's going to be hard to break. No, not at all. This is so easy to break. It's not even funny. All you need to do is cast 2, not useless spells, but spells just to cast spells. You know, like in a Storm deck, you're like, hey, cast this, cast this, cast this, cast this, cast this, cast this. You're not really caring about exactly what you cast sometimes until you cast that big last Stormy spell. Yeah, that's what this is. This is just, hey, cast something like, oh, I don't know, Opt. Cool, instant. Pay a red. For a blue. Scry 1, draw a card. Okay, cool. Yeah. Cool, I drew another card. All right, cantripping. All right, I'm not losing any cards, essentially, when I'm doing this. Great. In fact, I'm going to be gaining cards, because then I'll cast an Expedite. Target creature gains haste all turn, draw a card. Okay, cool, yeah, that first thing with my commander triggers. Okay, cast second spell. Oh, and to my next turn, I get actually, impulse draw that card. Great, good for me. Okay, cool. You know what else I have, though? Because this is my 3rd spell I'm casting, I believe, right? Yeah, it's the 3rd spell. Dramatic Reversal. Yeah, this is a card that can already combo with the good about things, but now it just comes with this commander very easily. Instant for 1 and a blue, untap all non-land permanents you control. So for 4 mana, you very easily just made infinite mana, infinite tap shenanigans, infinite everything. And I guess, okay, I am assuming that you have 1 mana rock in play. Do you have 1 mana rock? Okay, you win probably right there. You probably win. So again, you literally can just tap your commander to cast this or to copy it, to then untap your commander and all your other non-land permanents, to then do it again and again and again and again, just leaving it on the stack for infinity. I mean, not infinity. You got to end the game at some point, right? But yes, you have plenty of ways to win from there. Also, though, like, refocus. It's just, again, basically slightly inefficient cantrip at its cost. I mean, I guess Cerulean Wisps is it's a little more expensive than $1, so I didn't include in this list, but a very good card. Instant for 1 and a blue, untap target creature, draw a card. Even if you're just utilizing this, again, Dramatic Reversal untaps your entire everything, essentially, except for lands, right? This just untaps your commander again and again and again and again and again and again and again. You can just draw your deck. You can just draw your deck. Congratulations, you have your deck. Plenty of ways to win from there, I am sure, too. And again, if you have just 1 mana rock in play, sure, then you're like, okay, cool, all right, I've got extra mana for my Dramatic Reversal. Cool, now I will do that. Because, yes, I can copy that now infinitely, too. How about one that is somehow budget now? My goodness, with its reprint, Stormkiln Artist, gross, a 2/2 Dwarf Shaman for 4 mana. Gets +1/0 for each artifact you control. That does not matter at all in the slightest. Don't know why they threw it on there. I mean, it does come in handy with certain things, but, like, did not need that. Hey, Magecraft, whenever you cast or copy an instant source spell, create a treasure token. You're copying things infinitely. Again, the rules lawyer's out there. Technically, there's no such thing as infinite. Okay. All right, fine. 1 trillion. You made 1 trillion treasures. You got infinite mana. Again, outside of just, if you had Dramatic Reversal with that kind of combo, great, you got that. If not, any other, like, untap effect is just going to be infinite as well, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, cool, I get infinite mana. I guess the ones that draw you cards aren't infinite unless you got ways to, like, discard and shuffle, but you know what I mean. Plenty of ways to win from there. If you drew your entire deck and you made 80 treasures with this, you win. And if you don't win, you built your deck wrong. That's just all there is to it. Reckless Scholar, even this will just win you the game. Again, Dramatic Reversal plus this plus your commander equals you win. You win. No setup required. Very minimal. You need, like, again, 2, like, other spells to cast, which you're going to have ways to do that. 2 in Human Wizard for 2 and a blue. Tap target player draws card, discards a card. Opponents, I'm going to be so nice to you, okay? I'm going to help you all out. They're like, no, please don't. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll help you out. Oh, yeah, I'm being so nice. You draw a card, discard. Okay, you're welcome. Okay, keep doing it. Do it again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again. And then they're out of cards and they lose the game. So, yeah. Or you can actually just, go through your own deck to get whatever you need, essentially. Just discarding, drawing your entire deck, essentially, until you get to the card you need to win. You can do that, but obviously, if you're just Dramatic Reversaling this again and again and again, you just easily win by taking out your opponents. Again, even like I'm not going to say this is useless. This has its uses in certain decks, but this commander can turn pretty, not very good cards into crazy good ones again, like Refocus. Oh my goodness. Cerulean Wisp. Oh my goodness. This is the kind of commander, again, that combos with a ham sandwich, essentially. Very hard for you to stop. I mean, it doesn't have haste. That's the one thing, right? If you see something give this thing haste, like a fervor in play, you're in trouble with your opponent because this can just win when it comes down. So be careful. Also, I didn't even say this, but like, hey, at a higher budget, you only need like, you know, one extra turn spell and you basically win with this too. If you go like, okay, opt, expedite, time warp, cool, you win. Because, you know, one extra turn spell might not win you the game, but two will. Because then you're probably going to go to another turn. You're like, oh, okay, I don't have one yet. Oh, okay, got another turn. Yeah, cool. Got another extra turn spell. Do it again. Or maybe get it back out of my graveyard. You know, cast it again. Basically, it's going to end up being infinite extra turns with that kind of a build, too. So, yeah, this is the type of commander that is definitely kill on sight. Type of commander you got to be careful with because, again, you're playing against someone. They're probably just playing the pre-con deck. Like, you know, again, talk. Commander's social format. I always say this. Talk at a time, all right? Talk at a time. Establish expectations, essentially. If someone else is just playing the pre-con deck, right, with this, it's not like, oh, yeah, there's like a ton of infinite combos in it. At least to my knowledge, there's not a lot of infinite combos or any with that kind of a deck built around this. But hey, you know what? If you're playing against someone that built around this, it's definitely a kill inside commander because of all the crazy things that it can do. So, yeah, Stell, a wild card. You're a wild card that I am very scared of. Kill on sight. Next up, Voya, Claws, Jaws of the Conclave. I just messed that up because I was going to be Voya or Voja. I can never know the name. Voja? Anyways, Jaws of the Conclave. I already messed up like 3 times on this. We're going to keep going. 5/5 Wolf, Vigilance, Trample, and Ward 3 because this needed Ward. Wizards just slapping things onto cards. Goodness gracious, for 5 mana, this did not need protection. Whenever it attacks, put X counters on each creature control or X the number of elves you control, draw a card for each wolf you control. The only saving grace of this card is that it does not have haste, all right? Now, obviously, you're in red, so you've got a lot of haste enablers. You're going to get a fervor down. All of a sudden, oh my goodness. Because with this, you just needed to go wide in 1 or 2 directions, and you can do some crazy things. Yeah, the elves out there are nice, getting counters on your creatures, so this can hit even harder. Again, making this into a very easily a 3, then a 2, and maybe even a 1-shot KO on your opponents with the commander damage. And also, it's Vigilance, so it can stay back to block for you, too, because it needed that, right, Wizards? But also, hey, let's get some wolves in play and draw a ton of cards. Oh my goodness. Okay. And the thing is, again, with these drawing cards, like we talked about, you know, with Get Rog, all the cards you can draw in combat with that. A slight difference between this one and that one is that you might not get any lands, but also you're getting the pump effect, and also you're in red, which means that you've got access to extra combat spells. So you're like, okay, I attack, cool, all right, awesome. How many wolves? I got 10 wolves in play. Okay, cool, I draw 10. Great, okay, great, okay, cool. Oh, I drew an extra combat spell. Okay, let's cast that. Let's untap, let's do it again. Okay, I drew 10 more, yay! Yeah, this can get out of control in absolutely no time. Again, this kind of commander that can snowball so hard once you're set up. There's no stopping it. And again, it is the kind of commander that might just sit there for a bit because we're like, well, I don't want to deal with that right now because, like, I got this removal spell. I got to waste all this mana to actually just deal with it because it's got Ward 3. Waste it. Just destroy this commander. Okay, like early on to get land world, you're like, okay, cool. Fast, efficient mana. It actually makes sense with this kind of a commander to be like, yeah, I'll do some mana dorks. Elves are great, right? 1/1 elf druid for a single mana. Tap for a green. Cool, I can get things out early. I can get things set up very early. And also, the wider I go with my elves, the more counters I'm getting on my things, and even making these tiny little elves into very deadly creatures. But also, there's something like Mirror Entity where you're like, oh, okay, cool. This Masquerade Next is actually getting pretty expensive now. I love that card. A 1/1 Shapeshifter for 3 mana Mirror Entity, a Changeling. Pay X creatures you control, become XX and gain all creature types on turn. Yeah, by activating this, you are like, hey, all my creatures are elves, but also wolves and vampires. That doesn't really matter with the vampires thing. It might with other cards in the deck, but probably not. But yeah, now all of a sudden, all your creatures count for all the things. Get all the counters, draw all the cards. Gross. Masquerade Nexus, slightly easier. We got Tovolar's Huntmaster. There are ways to make a lot of wolves, too. Enters the battlefield, make 2/2/2 wolves. Also flips over into a werewolf. Enters the battlefield or attacks, make 2/2/2 wolves, which can also fight too. So yeah, there's that. Also, Wolf Briar Elemental. Again, you are in green. You've got a lot of efficient, effective ways to ramp. Multi-kick this to the moon. When it enters the battlefield, put a 2/2 green wolf creature on the battlefield for each time it was kicked. Make an army out of nowhere. Swing with your commander. Draw a ton of cards. What's not to love about that? Rising of the Day, like I talked about earlier. All those fervor type effects, you've got a lot of them. Getting it so your commander can attack right away, and again, it's warded, so it's hard for your opponents to actually deal with. You're going to get a lot of value right away, maybe even game-ending value when you're set up properly. Again, we talked about all those extra combat spells too. But hey, how about also Wolfgar of Icewind Dale? $2 now, so that's out of my budget range, unfortunately, but might be within yours. A 4/4 with melee. If a creature you control attack you cause a trigger ability permanent you control to trigger, triggers a little time. Yeah, this plus the new enchantment that doubles up triggers. Anything that Roaming Throne, yeah, all of those cards are disgusting with this commander because it's like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, I attacked. All right, cool. I got like 5 counters on my creatures. I drew 10 cards or whatever it was. Oh, okay, cool. I get to get again and again. Great. Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, and again, since it's on attack, your commander can become absolutely massive during the process, again, turning into a 3, 2, even 1-shot KO. This is a commander that, if it is not dealt with, it snowballs quickly. It is disgusting. The value on it is absurd through all of the words on it. Wizards definitely did that. Yeah, definitely, in my opinion, a kill-on-sight commander. Next up, though, there must just be like a big Naya fan at Wizards right now that is really pushing things because we got like that last commander we just talked about, Shalyn Halar last year, and Girid, Mirror of the Wilds. Okay. Yeah, this might be the most out of all the kill-on-sight commanders so far. This combos with a ham sandwich. A 3/3 human shaman for 3-mana and Naya haste. They had to give it haste. Non-token creatures you control have tap, create tokens, copy of target token you control that enter the battlefield this turn. Okay. Usually I'm like, Wizards don't limit things, okay? Like, yeah, you over-limit things like activate on the sorcery. Once each turn. This one, you maybe could limit just a little bit. Because at this point right now with this kind of a commander, you're going to get one of 2 strategies, or both most likely, essentially in the same deck. You are either going to get Storm, and again, these are like kind of like unintended just because like it doesn't actually say Storm on this, but you're once like, I made a treasure. Tap my creatures. Cool. All right. All right, cool. I'll get 8 treasures. Okay. Oh, an untap spell like Vitalize. Okay, I cast that for 1 mana. Untap my creatures, do it again. Oh, like to arms, draw. Untap my creatures, do it again. You just made like 20 treasures in a turn while casting spells. You're storming. You're storming. While casting all these other spells and casting extra combats. All these things you can do with that. Okay, there's that version. There's also the version that's basically Kiki Jiki. Essentially Kiki Jiki. You're like, okay, cool. I got this creature in play that untaps things or whatever. I make a token copy of it. I tap my creature. Do I make a token copy of it? Untap my things. I'll do it again and again and again and again and again. You're basically Kiki Jiki. So you're doing either Storm or Kiki Jiki, one of 2 things that many players don't like to play against potentially, and you're doing both in the same deck. And this is a commander that costs 3 mana, it is low to the ground, and it can be the combo itself. It has haste and it has its own ability. There's no limiting factor on this. It's not like, oh, make a token of target, creature or whatever it is, or a target creature token. It has one or the other. Sure, they'll limit a little bit, still be pretty broken. But this is there's no limitation. There's no holds barred with this commander. If you see this commander, I am assuming you are going crazy with it. Especially when I see Village Bellringer in play, then my bells are going to be going off. My alarm bells, not just bells in general. A 1/4 human scout with flash for 3 mana. Enters the battlefield on tap all creatures you control. You make a token copy of this, you are going infinite. You're making infinite Village Bellringers, which untap your creatures infinitely. If you've got a Mandork in play or whatnot, cool. You've got infinite mana, or I guess any kind of like land that can turn a creature to. Infinite mana, you got infinite pinging effects, you got like a Tim in play, whatever it is. Yes, does it require some setup? Sure, but there are so many redundant effects. Your head will spin with this kind of a commander. You have to look up for everything. Hyrax Tower Scout, this garbage card for the most part in many decks. A 3/3 human scout for 3 mana, enters battlefield, untap target creature again. It does not matter. Yes, is it better to like build Bellringer better because it's going to tap all your creatures? Yes. But the fact that this only taps 1 creature really does not matter all that much because if you make a token copy of this, your commander can be like, okay, cool, I make a copy of you. Untap this. And another one. And you keep going and you have infinite creatures. Again, if you've got a haste enabler, you win. Sunstrike Legionnaire. What a weird card. A 1/2 soldier for 2 mana. Does untap your tap step. When another creature enters the battlefield, untap it. Yeah, this can combo also with a ham sandwich, essentially. We just set up properly this commander again. Just slightly outside of my budget. Just 2 cents. I wonder if Wizards are going to reprint this. Probably not, because it doesn't really see play outside of this deck. But oh my goodness, did it jump in price as soon as the commander was announced. Jax is the troublemaker. Again, the one saving grace for this commander is probably that it's not in blue. If it was in blue, goodness gracious, there are so many cards that are like, hey, make a token that's a copy of this creature. At least they're somewhat limited, but not really. You got like Twin Flame, Heat Shimmers, all these like temporary copy effects, and you're getting more and more and more of them. This is a really good one. Pay red, tap, discard a card, create tokens, copy of creature control, gains haste. When it dies, draw a card. Sacrifice next turn. So again, it's temporary. Replace itself. You know, that card that you're discarding, replace the card that you're drawing. That being said, we're not going to get to that part. We're not going to actually get to the part where we sacrifice it because we're just going to make copies, infinite copies with our commander. Seance, this garbage card that I absolutely love in one of my decks, my Giganta deck. Champ for 4 mana. At the beginning of each upkeep, may exile target creature card from your graveyard. If you do, put a token in the copy of that card, except it's a spirit, just other types. Exile begin the next end step. Yeah, this is a pretty garbage card. It doesn't get the creature haste or anything like that. But the thing is, that doesn't matter with this commander because we're going to make token copies that are copies of it that don't go away. So all you need to do is get like Hyrax Tower Scout in your graveyard, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, cool, yeah, my upkeep, let's just get rid of that. Okay, cool, I get a token copy of it, and now I have infinite copies of it. I basically win. I mean, if you have Impact Tremors in play, Impact Tremors, there you go. You win! Enchantment for 2 mana. Whenever a creature in the battlefield you control, 1 damage each opponent. Again, you can either win just like hastily, or just win with this, being like, okay, cool, yeah, I have this in play, I made infinite creatures, I win. I did the thing. Congratulate me now. Or seize the spoils. Again, I talked about we're getting so much support over the years now for treasures. There's so many cards that, like, even just including this in the deck could be like, okay, I'm including it as like a little bit of like temporary ramp plus like some card advantage too, right? Discard 1 card, draw 2, make a treasure token. You could argue for this card in a lot of red decks out there, even if you don't have any other treasure interaction. With this commander, you do. You're like, okay, cool, I got like 8 creatures in play. All right, cool, I made 1 treasure. Tap 8 creatures, make 8 treasures. Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. I cast 2 arms. Untap this. Tap again. Yeah. Oh, okay, I cast a Village Bellringer. Untap. Tap again. Yeah. Okay, now I dig down into my deck and I drew the card that actually makes a copy of that Village Bellringer. I win. Yeah. This is the kind of commander, again, that can just win in so many different avenues. It is really hard not to combo with this commander. It combos with a ham sandwich again. You're either going to be going up, and most likely a combination of both, a deck that is Storm, or a deck that is Kiki Jiki Cradle of Creatures, essentially. Or a combination of both. You basically are getting that with this commander. It is low to the ground. It combos itself. Yeah, this is a commander that is definitely a Kill on Sight commander. Again, maybe worthy of the title of the most Kill on Sight commander out of all these I'm talking about so far. Moving on. You know what is a good commander that is probably also Kill on Sight and costs a lot more than this one? Miracle Lord of Bones. Pretty sure that's how you say that one. That one costs 7. Vraska costs 3. Here we go. 3/3 Gorgon Assassin for 3 mana in Golgari. Death Touch. Whenever a non-token creature opponent controls dies, you may pay 1. If you do, return that card to the battlefield tapped under control. It's an artifact. Treasure artifact, I should say. Tap, sacrifice artifact, add 1 color, and lose other card types. Okay, so here's the thing. The most easily removed permanent type in basically any format is typically creatures. Creatures, get taken out by the vast majority of things. When it comes to like board wipes, most board wipes you'll utilize are ones that are like, okay, yeah, at the very least, destroying creatures. Maybe there's some flexibility to them, but like, the very least, Wrath of God is like the most common type of wrath out there. Creature removal is pretty big in Commander. So, we have a way to turn our opponent's creatures into not creatures. They're treasures. So we can utilize those treasures either for mana. Sure, we're paying like 1 mana to do so. Essentially, it's like 1 mana now to like temporarily ramp later. Or, again, if we have an opponent's creature that happens to be very useful for us, that has like an ability or like an ETB or an LTB or whatever it is, we get to utilize that now. Yeah, because it's ours. We just made a copy of it, but it's not a creature. So again, especially if it's like an ability that can be very easily used and abused for us, my goodness, the amount of value that we can get for that, or like a trigger that it has, because it's going to be hard to deal with. Again, it is an artifact, still, decently easy to deal with, but more hard to deal with than a creature. It's going to stick around most likely longer. And if we actually just need to utilize it for mana, we can. This type of commander that, again, very easily you can just flood the board with your own things. It's going to be your own things, your opponent's things, which are your things. It's going to be very difficult for your opponents to keep anything in play because they're going to be really hard pressed to be like, I like to play this creature, but like, they probably have a way to deal with it. And when they do, they just get it essentially as a treasure. And yeah, just at a base level, making treasures with this is just gross. It's just grossly powerful. Even if they just said, again, it becomes an artifact, doesn't have, it's a treasure, just an artifact, lose other card types, that would still be very, 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 very good. This is a Kill and Sight commander for many reasons. Innocent Blood. Very simple, very effective. And yes, we'll get to some things here in a bit. But yeah, sure, you need some creature fodder to make, this sacrifice strategy work, this edict effect strategy. You're going to have plenty of creature fodder. You're in Golgari. Each player sacrifices a creature for a single black mana. This is get rid of 3 of your opponent's creatures for just 1 mana. Oh, okay, cool. My counter triggered 3 times. Awesome. All right, I'll pay 1/1/1. Now they're all mine. They're all treasures. Oh, that one had an ETB. Oh, thank you for that Mold Drifter ETB. Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that. Anawali Ruin Sage. Get of your upkeep, each player sacrifice a non-vampire creature. Again, unless you're playing against Vampire Tribal, and Vampire Tribal, this is going to give you a lot of benefits throughout the game. Again, your opponent sacrifice up, you're like, okay, cool, I like that. Sure, pay 1 mana. Now it's a treasure. It's mine. Also, Ghouls Procession. Whenever 1 or more non-token creatures die, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. Build yours on each turn. You're making a lot of creature fodder. Again, there's plenty of ways to make creature fodder. This is a great one to do so. Get those edict effects, especially those like repeatable, like on each turn effects like we just talked about. Yeah, that's going to be quite gross. Getting you more and more creature fodder so you can utilize them for your own edict effects or just like make an army essentially. But you're already making an army of treasures too on top of that. Age of the Iron Throne. Command creatures you own have whenever an artifact creature you control is migrated from the battlefield. Each opponent loses 1 life. Okay, so I'm just going to be draining my opponents essentially with my creatures that I'm stealing from them that are now artifacts too. That I can sacrifice whenever I want for mana, but also just to drain them too. And also those creatures that I'm sacrificing with my edict effects will also drain them as well. Figured moderate. Do you want to just pad your life total to oblivion? Oblivion, I guess infinity, the opposite of oblivion. Whenever an artifact is put in grave from the battlefield, you may gain 5 life. Again, any artifacts count, including your opponents, but also, yeah, you're making an army of treasures that you can sacrifice whenever you need to. So you're like, oh, that opponent's trying to take me out. Okay, I'll sacrifice 4 of my treasures for 4 mana. I'll gain 20 life. Good luck. Yeah, they're not going to be able to get to you. Also, let's just say an opponent has like a devoted druid. Now all of a sudden becomes like your combo. There are certain creatures out there, I'm not going to say like, that, oh, you're always going to play against opponents that have devoted druid or whatnot. But yes, there are certain things out there that happen to just combo with this commander that you can just gain access to. Or again, just a very powerful creature out there that your opponent just has. And like, okay, cool, I get like that triggered ability. Like, oh, I got rid of my opponent's roaming throne. Great, now it's mine as a treasure. Thank you. Yeah, but Devoted Druid would go infinite with this, essentially, because it would not be a creature anymore. You can get infinite -1 counters on that treasure. It's a weird thing to say. That you can then tap for infinite mana. So yeah, this is the kind of commander that, again, depends on what you're playing against, but my goodness, the potential of this commander is just sky high, in my opinion. Definitely a kill on sight commander. Moving on. Yeah, this little dude. Hey, creepy smile. Loot, the key to everything, including creepy smiles. A 1/2 Beast Noble with Ward 1 that costs 3 mana in Teamer. Beginning of your upkeep, exile the top X card of your library, X the number of card types among other non-land permanents you control. You may play those cards this turn. Okay, again, Wizard just slapping Ward 1 on this because, yeah, why not? This is a low-to-ground commander that can provide you with absurd, unheard of value throughout the game. Not unheard of. We also have other, like, broken commanders, too. But, like, my goodness! You get this in play, if you can keep it in play, which already has a little bit of protection with that Ward 1, right? But, like, it keeps in play. Yeah, you can get, like, 5+ cards each turn quite easily. So, yeah, there's that. And again, it's play those cards this turn. So, there's your lands, too. You're never missing a land drop, ever. The amount of value this can get you throughout the game, but again, is low to the ground, slightly protects itself, is incredible. And do not let opponents build on that value. Do not let things get out of control. And of course, there's also ways to, gain value out of, playing things from exile, cast things from outside of your hand. You got ways to use and abuse that too. We're getting more and more of those, type of prosper type effects lately. So here we go. Darksteel Relic, a simple, just useless card like this in the vast majority of decks out there. It's like Urza. Artifact for 0, it's indestructible. Hey, it's probably going to stay in play. And with that, again, that is basically 1 additional impulse draw each turn thanks to your commander. So, yeah, that's worth it. Next up, Darksteel Mirror. Things that have 2 or more, potentially, different types, essentially. Darksteel Mirror. Artifact creature. There you go. Hey, it counts both as artifact. It's creature. It's a 0/1 for 3. Terrible, right? Oh, wait, no. It's indestructible. Again, can stay in play a lot of the time. And while it's in play, this is basically impulse draw 2 each and every single turn in combination with your commander. That's got to see slightly less, indestructible enchantments, but you got like this. A 5/5 legendary enchantment creature god, indestructible. If you've got, your devotion to 5, cool. That's a creature. Beginning of your upkeep, scry 1, so some extra value there too. You can also make creatures unblockable, but yeah, again, it counts for basically 2 things in play. So having hard to deal with beefy things in play, also having like heroic intervention type cards can really help as well. Keeping things in play, keeping things around, keeping your, count of non-land permanents, not non-land, keeping your count of, what was it again, exilate topics cards were X the number, yeah, non-land permanents types among non-land permanents, there we go. is going to be very crucial, and there's plenty of ways to do it. There's plenty of things to get out and play. And also, correct me in the comments below if I'm wrong on this, but it was pointed out that, hey, it's also like some weird ones too, like Tribal is also technically another non-land permanent type, even though Atraxa like didn't list all those, you know, when the new Atraxa didn't like list all those kind of types. So also we have like battles, those kind of things too. But then we've got a ton of apparently non-land permanent types, so you can impulse draw even more throughout the game. This one might not, you know, see play in the deck, but you're like Lignification, that one too. I don't know. There's a lot of different kinds of effects that you can utilize, and also again, like I mentioned earlier, take advantage of things from outside of your hand when you're playing them. Enchantment for 3 mana, wherever land enters the battlefield under control from anywhere other than your hand, or you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, you make a 3/3 red spawn creature token. You're just going to be playing basically everything from outside your hand with this kind of commander. You're like, okay, cool, yeah, just everything else is an extension of my hand. I get value out of that. I do crazy things with this. Here's my army from this. Here's my damage effects from this. Here's all the crazy things that I can do. Sage of the Beyond. Let's just get a lot of value, too, by being able to play things a lot cheaper. Spells you cast from anywhere other than your hand cost 2 less to cast. That's all the spells you're going to be casting. So, yeah, you can kind of like storm off with this kind of a commander as well. The amount of value cannot be underrated. And again, this type of commander that he only has ward 1 for that protection. It's still like a nice little annoyance on it, but also you are heavily incentivized of a lot of things in the deck like Heroic Intervention that can save your things because you want to keep things in play. So by doing that, you're also going to keep your commander in play. And by doing that, the value is just going to run over your opponent. So yeah, this is one that I do believe is a kill on site commander, and not just because that is a very creepy face. But finally, and kind of jokingly, but kind of not, this is one that, it depends on who I'm playing against with this one, but the second this hits the battlefield, I'm going to be like, if we don't take that out, we probably lose. If Alec built a deck around this, the second this hits the battlefield, we better take it out, and yes, of course, Wizards threw Ward on it. A 4/4 Viashino Artificer with Menace, Ward 2, and Haste for 7 mana. So there's a 7 Grace right there. Again, like, unlike all the other ones we've talked about so far, this one actually has a high mana value. Geared should have a very high mana value. Should not be anywhere near 3. Anyways, whenever it attacks, sacrifice any number of other creatures, then exile the top X card of your library, X the total power. You may cast any number of instant source spells from unlike exile cards without paying their mana cost. Okay, so this is one that, like, the commander is literally just like the conduit to play your entire deck. Basically is what is going to happen. And when you play your entire deck, you probably win. And not your entire deck, sure, just in sorceries. But basically what you're going to be doing with this is like, okay, I get out a bunch of creatures or like a couple big creatures. I got some pump effects probably, and I just sacrifice all of them. Because again, I get this in play. I can swing right away thanks to that haste. Menace really doesn't matter all that much. It doesn't matter if this survives probably, because you're just going to win on that turn. Ward 2 is nice to protect it though. So again, if your opponents don't have any ways to deal with it, it's probably game over if you're set up properly. So yeah, utilize things like Young Pyromancer. Cool, all right. Whenever you cast in source spell, make a 1/1 token. Great. Fill the board with a ton of tokens. I mean, Tolerant Sky Summoner even better because you got more power there. Whenever you cast in source spell, get a 2/2 blue Drake creature token with flying. Again, you're going to have a lot of in-sorcerers in this deck, so make sure you utilize them properly with this. Next up, Battle Mage Captain, a 1/3 Flying Bird Wizard. Whenever you cast in source spell, creature control, get +1/+0 and gain trample till turn. So now you're getting creatures in play. Again, you're filling the board with this army of creatures. Then you're casting spells on that big explosive turn. You're like, okay, cool, my creatures are even larger. You've got like maybe some anthems in play as well. Cool, you pump your team. Also, you could just have creatures that just inherently have big power. Haughty Djinn. Star 4 flying equal to power equal to the number of in-source cards in your graveyard. Also, just the cost of your in-sorcery spells, which is lovely. Yeah, it's going to be quite spicy. So, yes, you get things in your graveyard. This could be more powerful. Or you just get, like, Immolating Soul Eater in play. Gross. A 1/1 Hound for 2 mana. Pay a Phyrexian red mana, so either a red or 2 life. +1/+0 until end of turn. Yeah, on that turn where you're like, let's go big, let's go explosive, and all of a sudden, this has 20 power. I mean, you need a little more life than 40, I guess, to do that, but let's say it's got 18 power, whatever it is, 19 power. Okay, you got a ton of power with this. All of a sudden, you sacrifice all your other things, and you're like, okay, cool. I swung, and I shall decide to just demolish you all, because again, it's on when it attacks, not when it gets through. So you do sacrifice all those creatures, and all of a sudden, you're like, okay, cast every single in-sorcery out of my deck. Cast Grape Shot. One day to a target storm. You have other ways to take advantage of that too. You have things like Display of Power. It can't be copied, thank goodness, but you can copy any of target in sorcery spells, choose targets for the copies. So when you're casting all those spells out of your deck, You're also copying every single one of them as well. You probably don't even need to do that to win. But yes, this is the type of commander that, again, is kind of, it's not a joke commander on this list, okay? It's nowhere near the power level of all the other ones on this list. It is not. But it is one that if you do see it hit the table, you better take it out because it's probably going to win the game for that player if they're set up properly. So this is the kind of one where, again, if Alex playing this, to me, this is a kill on sight commander because I know the crazy things that Alex can do with the build. But with that, this show is coming to a close, so it's time for me to hear from you in the comments below. What are your thoughts on my list of the Kill Inside commanders? If you are interested in any of these cards that I mentioned in this episode, make sure you check out that card list link in the description below. Also in the comments, let me know what other Kill Inside commanders I did not mention. I mean, I guess I've kind of limited to just like this year so far because I already did other lists before, but this year so far, I should say. What are your picks for the Kill Inside commanders? You think I'm wrong on any of these, that they're not a Kill Inside commander? If you say Geared, you're wrong, okay? Just in my opinion, you're wrong on that, all right? Just, it's scary. It's very, very scary. And like, your build might not be scary, but the vast majority builds out there are going to be scary. You can't tell me you don't have one untap effect in there. You know you do. You know you do. Regardless, let me know in the comments below. And of course, as always, thanks again, and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.